G'day friends and fans, welcome to Tabletop News. I'm your host, the author, David Applegate. A role-playing enthusiast with years of experience with Dungeons & Dragons and Shadowrun, I mostly collect now. I do occasional solo play, and I believe these days there is such a plethora of enjoyable games out there. I find the Cthulhu mythos quite interesting, and there is an amazing collection of material out there. And Bundle of Holding has put it all together in the Trail of Cthulhu Mega, a mega bundle of mythos hunting tabletop role-playing. The starter collection is $17.95. This is a monstrously large hoard of rulebooks, supplements, and sourcebooks for the Trail of Cthulhu, the tabletop role-playing game of Eldritch Cthulhu mythos investigations using the Gumshoe system from Pelgrane Press. Adventurers use Gumshoe, as seen in other systems, not to hunt clues, but to interpret them, to solve the mystery. Star designer Kenneth Haidt uses his encyclopedic knowledge of history and Lovecraftian horror to capture the creeping madness of the 1930s. Adding to that, the authoritarian rulers and the great old ones alike. Pelgrane Press crowdfunded the second edition, which rises soon. This mega bundle features the 2008 first edition rulebook and support line. All first edition supplements and set areas are wholly compatible with the forthcoming second edition rulebook. This edition adds character creation templates, new abilities, campaign frames, an introductory adventure, and expands the mythos. There are a dozen titles from 6 previous bundles, along with 3 major additions. Together, they make this a great addition to your Cthulhu collection. Or if you're a horror fan, or you're looking for something new, check it out today. Now, first off, we have the starter collection, $17.95. However, if you level up at a pay above the threshold price of $36.85, you get the entire bonus collection with 7 more titles. Now, this lays out the previous bundles, but still, the additional material is worth the price. With the starter collection, you have the Trail of Cthulhu, the core rulebook to get you started, where Cthulhu meets Gumshoe. Uncover mysteries, industrial libraries, and bloody crime scenes. Measure your sanity. Investigate with various abilities such as cop talk, interrogation, and the occult to help you find the awful crypt or tell you what might have been there. Drives such as in the blood and arrogance compel your character into that crypt at night. So it actually has a system for arrogance. How delightful. Delicious. It sounds... Now, there are general abilities such as sense trouble, filch, and scruffling. You don't know what filch is. That's generally a ability to nick, to pinch, to take without permission, to steal. Tune the rules for the purest cosmic despair, or go full deep with two-gun pulp. There are various frameworks and a complete introductory adventure. Hideous Creatures brings you the mythos in a new contradiction and something familiar yet weird to give you not just antagonists to fight or flee from, but an entire adventure. Understand the legends, the heresies, and the deliberate lies spread by these creatures to lull their foes into a false sense of familiarity. Out of Time is a 4-century spanning set of adventures created by Call of Cthulhu veterans Adam Gauntlet, Jason Morningstar, and Bill White. Take your investigators from the trenches of the Western Front to the Indian Ocean, and from the Bikini Atoll to the Mojave Desert. This includes extensive handouts, pre-generated characters, and exclusive new essays from the authors. Out of Space. Time after time. You'll have 5 adventures that take the investigators from the mountains of northern Mexico to the skies above Germany, from the smog and disease of gaslit London to the raging Atlantic Ocean. Even take them to a world that only exists in their worst nightmares. Out of the Woods. If you go down to the woods today, you're in for a big surprise. For today is the day that the old ones have a picnic. You're on the menu. From the shadowy depths of the primeval forest comes the worst collection of our collective fears. Explore the hidden groves and endless avenues of the Lovecraftian forest. Each adventure includes extensive handouts, maps, and pre-generated characters. Shadows over Filmland. The silver screen drips with blood and madness. And then you go to the movies. Battle, sell your own thrills and chills. Pay homage to the horror classics of the 1930s as Kenneth Haidt and Robin D. Laws team up to marshal their mastery of cinematic lore to bring you a Cthulhu scenario of gasp, shudder, and tremble. Hours of play in various quick scenarios of horror, terror, and shrieking. And that's just from the Game Master's frustrations with you, the player. Cthulhu is one of those hard ones where you have to delve into the depths of horror and pretty much play along. You cannot be a tourist to fully enjoy Cthulhu. You have to be the character rather than be yourself. That's the point of role-playing games. Rough Magics. This is Mythos Magic presented by Kenneth Haidt, a theoretical sumner of Lovecraftian lore, taken to new horror, new spells, and a handy list of magical names to drop, including a new magical ability, the Magic ability, as well as, perhaps more significantly, introduces explicit magic used for aliens and creatures in the mythos. Now there's a bit of Robert E. Howard thrown in. And of course, what is a game? We've had a Game Master screen and handy resources. However, there's an important little resource book with this that are not just the last scribbled words of a madman, but instead carefully collected collection of clues, benefits, and game-relevant data. Delve into forbidden knowledge, contacts, and more with a handy little resource book. Level up, which I recommend you do. You get bonus titles, including Fearful Symmetries. This secret war has arrived in England, and you are the warriors. Albion, the primeval and perfect England of William Blake is broken. It's a war in heaven, turmoils amongst mankind, and guided by Blake's poetry, heroes arise to build Jerusalem anew in the green and pleasant land. Alongside this comes the companion volume, the Book of New Jerusalem, Fearful Symmetries. Gives you 4 systems of magics, locations, threats, terms, characters, and guidelines for building an improvised campaign with dangers drawn from English folklore and mythos abominations. Use this to flesh out the struggle between lurking horrors, good intentions, and those who think the power can be, the good intention of those who think power can be controlled by mere mortals. And the Book of New Jerusalem is specific to 1927. Britain recovers from the... You have August Darcy, a young and strangely obsessed journalist, seeks to recover the very essence of England, her traditions, customs, and legends, even at the cost of his livelihood, even if he loses the woman he loves. This is the magical war. Darcy has visited mythic sites, hidden battlefields, and forbidden knowledge, and it becomes the esoteric ordnance. And this knowledge becomes the esoteric ordnance in the upcoming battle. Now, the Book of New Jerusalem is a primer for the occult of 1930s England. It's a resource and an in-game artifact. The apocalypse has happened. Things that lurked have risen to claim their rightful place. They now rule the earth. Stalking like titans, millions of men and women have died, yet you survived, doomed to horror of the ruins, searching for answers. What went wrong? And are there others like you? Can you stay alive? What this is a survival horror supplement for the Trail of Kalathu, which does use investigative systems. You piece together what happened, and survive. Eternal Lies. A decade ago, a band of occult investigators battled to prevent the summoning of an ancient and monstrous evil. They failed. Now you must piece together what went wrong. This is a investigation of a failed investigation. So you follow in someone else's footsteps, make your own, and this time there's no second chances. Kalathu City is exactly as it sounds. It's Great Arkham in northern Massachusetts. It's a windowless city of cyclopean skyscrapers, of crumbling Baroque buildings and ruins that impossibly predate human habitation. Streets are lined with buildings raised by no human hand, and at night titanic ships move behind the clouds. The government is enthralled to, or at least in league with, alien horrors. Black ships dock at Ismouth to trade with its squat, ugly denizens, old money families. And you have priests marked with yellow silk. So you have old money families. Doesn't really say what they do, but of course they are the facade. Behind them are the priests, marked with yellow silk, proclaim the majesty of the living gods. Not all your neighbours are insane or human, but you're trapped. There's no way to escape the city because the city is the world. This is a city of Lovecraftian creation. Expeditions is exactly that. These are expeditions to 10 journeys into the unknown to fill in the unknown. You have empty spots on a map that you have to fill in, and the truth awaits you. So gun, camera, notebook in hand, and you risk your survival just to put a name on a map, or at least fill in the lines on a map. Now, the final revelation is exactly that. The more you discover, the more the mythos affects your mind. Your friends cannot be trusted, your knowledge means nothing, and everything you hold dear turns to dust. This is forced sanity, destroying purest of edges. We're based on a purist campaign where there's no escape, no comfort, no salvation. It is the final revelation. Says 4. 1, 2, 3. Says 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. There you go. Quite the mega bundle for practically almost 10% of its original value. Next we have Scion Origin, a tabletop role-playing game of modern godhood from Onk's Path. Hero Collection, $14.95. This is the all-new second edition bundle that brings you the 2024 second edition tabletop game from Onk's Path about children of gods discovering their birthright in the modern world. Here, myths and legends only exist in the shadows. Interfering and manipulating humanity exists in an uneasy balance with these forces. But for you, that veil has been rent, propelling you into the realm of the rival gods, bound fate of vast titans, born even before gods. Steal fire from the heavens, shatter the gates of the underworld, and write your own legendary destiny. This uses a dynamic system that supports any power level. Begin your campaign with an uncertain mortal, and then from there you continue. For $14.95 you get all 9 second edition titles. However, pay above the threshold price of $30.50, you level up and get the entire Demigod collection with 7 more titles. So it's quite the mega bundle. First up we have the second edition book. Book 1, Origins. You're the child of a god, born to the magics of yesteryear and promises of tomorrow. You live a world of myth where every ancient story is true. Your ancient enemies, the Titans, stir in prisons beneath the land of the dead. Their spawn issues forth from the lands of myth, and the spectre of war falls across the heavens. In this age of turmoil, you seize your birthrights, feel the call of your blood, find your destiny, live the myth, embrace your fate. This is a game about gods, humanity, and everything in between. You are humanity's only hope against the savage titans, dreaded forebearers of the gods. Even the gods themselves cannot stand united. Book 2. The savage titans have escaped to wage war against the gods once more. Their battles have spilled over into our world. Even the gods cannot stop their personal rivalries and squabbles long enough to care for the people who worship them. Children of the gods are touched by the divine, awakening to miraculous powers, and with great power comes grave responsibility. You must negotiate the human world and the divine one, acting as the intermediaries, shielding the worshippers from their parents' harm. Struggle to fulfill your fate and remain tied to what you once cared for. So now you're a hero. A guidebook. And Making History Modern. Story of another guidebook. And the Player's Guide. Discover what it is to mean to be a demigod. A sorcerer. Or Children of the Titans. Inhuman ichor burns away their humanity. Yes. You have rules for saints, prophets, denizens, sorcerers, titanic scions, edges, new character creation system for the story path. And the Demigod collection. Beat the threshold price, you level up, get the entire collection. Now, book 3, Demigod. The gods made your world. One way or another, they made you. Every god was once mortal. That you stand at the threshold of humanity and divinity and cross over into the lands beyond the world. As titans rattle their cages, you comfort your own mortality, you live your myth, you shed your mortality. Win or lose, the people will speak your legend forevermore. This is the next evolution with new pantheons, expanding on the settings, elements, and systems. A new massive set piece for fights, including on how to play through the various requisite milestones to reach godhood. Compendium brings more mysteries of the unseen, revealing secrets. Gaze deep into the mirror of, or no matter how much you imagine yourself to be, you always learn something new. So we've got new rules, new expansions, new rules, new systems, and new path for converting first editions. So you can take earlier characters, cults and relics. Here's what it is. It's an expansion. Sounds very interesting, though. Titan Marquee. Of course, anybody who knows anything about Greek mythology, the Titans were these giants who gave birth to the gods. Then the gods turned against them, so the Titans ate them, although the gods claim the Titans turned against them and tried to eat them. Either way, Zeus claimed to have killed the gods, but actually they were already imprisoned in the underworld. And that's what earthquakes are, is the Titans trying to escape their prison. And then allegedly the gods turned the world into their playground, and then the gods died or disappeared. And then the Titans allegedly went back to sleep. Allegedly. Now this is a system that just basically turns all mythology on its head and turns it into a very interesting game where you play the mythology of the past in a modern era as a child of the gods, pretty much like Perseus. And you have various birthrights and new powers. So don't forget, the gods come from the Titans, so some have titanic powers. And mythical denizens, well, there's new powers, again, but there's also strange and powerful beings. Some are villains of folklore, bringing ruin and chaos for selfish reasons. Other more conflicted, possibly victims of themselves after a fashion, though no less dangerous for it. So each one poses a serious threat. What you're going to do about it? So you're a warrior trying to protect the fair. You got fair folk, shapeshifters, and more. Fair folk. I think there was another term for elves. I don't think the Greeks ever actually referred to elves. I think they referred indirectly to same people, though, that the Celts called elves. Although, I think they called them fair folk. Or they did also have nymphs. Now, nymphs seem to be a group of races. Though, apparently, the woodland nymphs also can refer to elves. It's very complicated indeed. I don't know if this game does that, though. I would like to find out. I'm very interested in this one. Just even if it's to find out what their take on the various races that the Greeks referred to, because they had pygmies, they had dryads, urods, and many others. A lot of your fantasy creatures come from Greeks, so it'd be very interesting to see what this one does with Greek mythology. Although it does appear with Tesnicocle to bring in other gods as well, other pantheons. So you have the origins of the gods and each book expanding on the pantheons. Sounds very interesting and very reasonably priced. However, not as reasonably priced as the Age of Ambition. $9.95 for the core collectors. Core collection. Now this is a fantasy tabletop role-playing game from Tab Creations, although it is in the pending industrial age, or the early industrial age. And you have a transformation, which is something I've actually explored, is very interesting, is what if all the fantasy races got together and had a functional civilization? And yeah, you have even the goblins trying to make peace. But of course you have various threats like the Pirate Queen, still you got a tyrannical king. So as the amazing future draws near, who will shape it? What discoveries will be made? You got tyrants to overthrow, wrongs to right, and yeah, it's based on various settings. But for $9.95, you get 10 titles in the core collection, level up, and you get 10 more. So it's another mega bundle for $20.50 at the minimum price. So core collection gives you the core rulebook and various source books, which add character options, new campaign options, 2 books on monsters, a Game Master's Toolkit with a range of new rules, hazards, and encounters. Hideout Power presents you with new abilities for veterans. And this was a successful Kickstarter campaign. And Out of the Shackles is an introductory adventure starting with exactly the wrongs which you seek to right, and that is slavery. Level up, which I recommend you do, you get a interesting collection of bonus titles. First up, we have What Lies Beneath. This is a campaign where you're one of the elite city guards in the city of Melanoc. I suppose this is the core setting. Now, you have to face criminal organizations, explore prophetic dreams, navigate cultural differences, uncover corruption in the highest echelons of society, and make a name of yourself as defender of the city. However, there's also a secret, long-lost, subterranean civilization that's been cut off the surface world for eons, and first contact will be made by you. So there's warfare, criminal trials, and various non-player characters who make up your foes, and various life path options. Strange Bedfellows. Well, it's a source book for politics. As you seek to improve the realm, advance personal ambitions, you have to navigate politics, face apocalyptic danger lurking in their midst, and, of course, face tough choices, including a conspiracy to stoke civil unrest. And there's a map of the regions for use in any campaign, not just specific to Strange Bedfellows, and various scenarios which could fill 2 to 4 gaming sessions. They're all small scenarios to basically fill in some time and fill in some lore. Only a few days ago on this little nugget. Next up, we have Deadball, a quick baseball game of polyhedral dice. 3 rulebooks and 3 expansions for $9.95. So you have baseball with dice. The first edition covers... Okay, you got 2 editions. It's a quick game for 1 to 2 players. Can take about 30 minutes. And yeah, you create a custom team. You play off season after season. You got complete rules for pre-1920 and post-1920. And you got a fictional circuit, an 8-league team of misfits and eccentrics. You have basic rules to start with. And then you got the expansions. Right, each expansion adds new rules, new players, fictional teams, more detailed write-ups. You get a World Series and short stories where every pitch is a potential tragedy. All of this is brought to you by you. Future Fantasy is my RPG Patreon, a science fiction fantasy setting for D6. Can be converted to other settings. Lots of posts. You get also all the links. You also get my past gaming streams, all my tabletop news links. After I've uploaded a course, once it's streamed, I will post. Yes, and you just if you join for free, or you could join for as little as $1 a month to show your support. Somnus, Domina. Blade, Bone, and Benefit. 5th edition expansion. For the first time, we have a Dungeons & Dragons bestseller. Not in a long time have I seen Dungeons & Dragons in the top lists at DriveThruRPG. It's not for the lack of trying, but there are lots of Dungeons & Dragons stuff, and primarily it is on Kickstarter, and primarily that's the only place you get them. Most of the new stuff that gets posted to DriveThruRPG, of course, is buried within a day by more new stuff. It is the largest and it's very crowded right now. But you have new classes, subclasses, races, sub-races, backgrounds, and spells and items. For new gods, new lore. And what's it all for? Well, gods. The Simonian gods. Their orders. Supernatural realms. Backgrounds. So it's an entire setting. Yeah, books 19 released in 2025, new edition. Yeah, new content. Yeah, and yeah. So it's a complete 5th edition expansion. Now, Temple of Jubilex is 13 years after the ruins of Undercity, the random infinite dungeon generator returns. This is a DM-less dungeon crawl engine for solo play or group play. You could have campaigns that span years if you let them. Start with a sheet of grid paper and descend into madness. built on many Sword Adventures classics, such as the classic old school fantasy games. You have full stats, zero apologies. So you have the Soiled City with its markets, sinkholes, factions, and human wreckage. You have Origins, map making, monster manual, the dungeon horrors, trove of items, a dungeons engine, and a solemn machine that never runs out of monsters. Okay. Looks interesting. Next up, we have Myth IQ Tabletop RPG, a new tabletop game that brings you back to the basics with, only one backer. Brand new. Welcome to Myth. Have you ever been playing and wished it was easier to start a character in a world that was more immersive? Tired of modern games, never had my full attention. Back to Attack again brings break the boredom of old games, I guess. Does it? Yeah. Okay. Okay, so you got called Rulebook Digital, paperback. Yeah. A new system is so hard to launch, which is why so many people just launch expansions for existing systems. Yeah. But good luck to you. Not every Kickstarter, of course, goes near its goal. Though, as interesting and as fun as this looks, and I'm not going to persuade or dissuade anybody from Moss Island. I'm just reminding you that it's still out there with 22 days to go. There's only 8 backers, short of its goal. It looks interesting. It brings a new twist on the mythos of Australia as the deadliest continent with real deadly fictionals. And it ties into previous content in the dystopian fantasy and science fiction settings. It really does look interesting. Again, it is hard for new systems to kick off, whereas expansions to existing systems have a built-in audience. No guarantees, of course. I mean, look at D&D. You can have sometimes runaway success and become a bestseller, or, like so many, become one of hundreds of thousands of new and exciting expansion for D&D. Yeah. One of the things that has been both a blessing and a boom for D&D is the overabundance of material. For some, it has become overwhelming, while others find it comforting that they can always find something. Thank you for watching. I appreciate each and every one of you. Please like, share, subscribe, support the channel. You can support me on Ko-Fi, Patreon, buy my books, buy merch. I appreciate each and every one of you. See you in the next video, and bye for now.